season on the brink. That is not an exaggeration. If the Kansas City Chiefs lose to the Indianapolis Colts, everything we thought we knew about this season gets flipped. The pressure on Andy Reid skyrockets. Patrick Mahomes takes more heat than lost to the Colts. What is really at stake, and how this could change everything for the rest of the year. Let's start with where this team is right now. The Chiefs came into this season with sky-high expectations. You have Patrick Mahomes in his prime, a championship-tested head coach in Andy Reid, and a defense that has been the backbone of this team through some ugly offensive stretches. On paper, this is still one of the most complete rosters in the seeding is going to matter. And Kansas City has already burned through some of that cushion with sloppy games, offensive inconsistency, and stretches where they just have not looked like the clean, ruthless version of the Chiefs we got used to earlier in the Mahomes era. That is exactly why this matchup with the Colts is being circled as a possible breaking point. The Colts are not supposed to be the team that derails your season. This is the kind of opponent that for years Chiefs fans penciled in as a handle-your-business game. Beat the teams you are supposed to beat, then go prove yourself in the big ones. So when an outlet says the Chiefs season could unravel completely with a loss to the Colts, what they are really pointing to is not just the record. It is the message a loss like that would send about where this team actually is. Let's talk about what is truly on the line if the Chiefs lose this game. First, the standings. A loss to the Colts is not just another L. It drops you in the AFC race and gives away ground to teams that are not wasting chances. In a conference battle where first-round byes and home playoff games can be the difference between another Super Bowl and an early exit, this kind of slip can haunt you in January. Second, the psychology of the season. Every NFL team has rough weeks. But there is a difference between getting outplayed by another heavyweight and getting punched in the mouth by a team you were favored to beat. A loss to the Colts raises real questions inside that locker room. Are the offensive issues fixable, or just who you are now? Can Mahomes trust his receivers? Is Andy Reid going to adjust enough with play calling? Can the defense keep bailing everyone out, or do they eventually crack too? You also have the schedule ripple. When you drop a game you were supposed to win, you suddenly have to steal a game most people assumed you would lose just to get back on track. That is a brutal way to live in the NFL. It forces you into must-win mode earlier than you should be, and that pressure builds every single week. Third, the national narrative. Fair or not, a loss here gives every national show and every talking head fuel for days. You know what that sounds like. Has the league finally caught up to the Chiefs? Did Kansas City waste too many years trying to rebuild the receiver room on the fly? Is Andy Reid's offense getting stale? All of that noise filters into the fan base, into the players' social feeds, into every conversation about this team. And even if the Chiefs still control their own destiny, it feels like the floor is shaking. Now let us talk about you. Chiefs Kingdom. Because if they lose to the Colts, this fan base is going to be loud. You can already feel how thin the patience is getting with the offense. Fans have been incredibly loyal through the miscues, the drops, the red zone struggles, the penalties that stall out promising drives. But a loss in a game like this flips the emotional switch. You will get the full spectrum. Some fans will say this is what happens when you ignore wide receiver early in the draft one too many times. Others will point at Andy Reid and say he needs to simplify, run the ball more, and stop going cute in short yardage situations. You will also have the blow-it-up crowd. The ones saying it is time to move on from certain veterans, give more snaps to the young guys, and rethink how this offense is built around Mahomes. The local media in Kansas City will be more measured, but they will not hold back either. You will hear real conversations about whether this team is still the bully of the AFC or just another good team in a crowded field. You will hear about leadership in the locker room, about frustration building on the sideline, and about how long the defense can carry this thing if the offense does not wake up. And then there is the national media. A loss like this gives them a narrative gift. Is the dynasty window closing? Did the Chiefs get too comfortable? Are other AFC teams simply younger, faster, and hungrier now? That is why this game feels so big. It is not just Colts versus Chiefs. It is Chiefs versus doubt. Chiefs versus their own standard. Chiefs versus the idea that the run might be slowing down. Here is the reality. One loss does not mathematically end a season, but not all losses are created equal. Losing to a contender in a hard-fought game is one thing. Losing to a team you are supposed to handle, at a time when your margin for error is already thin, sends a very different message. If the Chiefs come out flat, make the same mistakes, and let the Colts walk out with a win, it will feel like a turning point. The kind of moment we might look back on and say, that is where the season slipped away from what it was supposed to be. On the flip side, if Mahomes locks in, the offense finds rhythm, the defense keeps setting the tone, and Kansas City handles business, this game can be a reset button. A chance to quiet the noise, steady the ship, and remind the league that the standard here is still championships, not excuses. So yeah, saying the season could unravel with a loss to the Colts sounds dramatic. But when you look at the stakes, the schedule, the pressure, and the expectations, you can see why people are sounding the alarm. Now it is on the Chiefs to answer. Drop your takes in the comments and join the road to 5,000 subs here on Kansas City Chiefs Today.